What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the HIGHTRON Knives Edgeplay. Now, yes, you heard that correctly, Edgeplay. A little bit of a, comical name in my opinion, but this is a cool little knife. So, as you guys can see right off the bat, it's kind of a, I'm going to say a gimmick, in air quotes, because I think it's kind of gimmicky, but I think it's also kind of fun and, very, very unique and very, very different. But this is coming in from the Lefty passaround group, and it is part of a passaround package, including the Edgeplay, as well as the HIGHTRON, which you guys will be seeing upcoming. But yeah, this thing is cool. So this is the second knife from HIGHTRON that I've checked out. The first being one of their first budget models that they sent me, I think, about a year ago or so. And this is obviously a step up in, materials and price point and all that jazz. And it's a little bit gaudy of a knife. It's a little bit in your face, a little bit tacky in my opinion. I much prefer some of the other variants of this knife, which we'll touch on in a minute. But yeah, so I guess we're going to jump right into materials. Before we do that, I guess, this will be linked in the description down below. 2 HIGHTRON knives, where it looks like everything, all the variants of this knife are currently in stock. So if you guys are interested, you can definitely go down to that link and check it out yourself. But the Edgeplay is a knife here that is unique, specifically for this thing back here. We're going to jump right into what this is. So you have a knife, and then you have a fidget spinner back here, or a fidget toy. So you can, see if you guys can see it in the camera. You can do this, you can rotate it around. You can push it, very tactile. You can do this. It's very cool. And I know fidgets were, I don't think as much a thing now as they were years ago. Well, I shouldn't say years ago. Within the last year or two, I know Kev over at Lefty EDC went down a deep rabbit hole into fidgets. And I feel like HIGHTRON might be like a little bit late to the party with developing this mechanism, this knife here with this fidget spinner on the back. Still cool regardless. And I know I have, ADHD, and I love to fidget with my knives. So I do get the appeal of having a fidget on the back here to where you don't want to be, flicking your knife. A little bit of a change of pace just to flip your knife around like that and be able to rotate. And I really like these tactile clicks. I think that sounds really cool. So you have the fidget spinner back here, but you also have this interesting little knife, HIGHTRON right there, pivot, logo on the pivot. You have a crossbar lock, a non-reversible milled titanium clip, this really interesting milling on here, and then this wild sheep's foot style blade. So this is considered a copper Damascus steel, according to the website. And it goes, obviously in play with the rest of the copper and a little bit of a blue hint to it, obviously with the blue anodized accents, blue thumb studs, blue crossbar lock, all that. Yeah, this is copper Damascus. Again, I would much prefer some of the other variations of this knife, which we'll touch on in a second. But again, I do get where they're coming from. There is a little bit of internal milling on both sides for weight reduction, but obviously this knife is not super duper big. Some quick specs for you guys real quick. Overall length from tip to butt, we were talking about 6.32 inches, coming in with a blade length of 2.64, handle length or close length of 3.65. It comes in weighing sub 3 ounces at 2.75. Again, the blade material is copper Damascus steel, considerable, beautiful little sheep's foot there. And it is titanium alloy. So give you guys some quick size comparisons, of course, with my Para 3 and my TRM Neutron 2. I would consider these to be on the smaller side of medium knives, and this is shrunk by both of those. So this is definitely a small knife. That is for sure. Get those away. And then there are three other variations available. You have this version, you have the same bladed version, or excuse me, the same blade, but with a like blurple anodized titanium, and then you have a fully blacked out, and then you have like a greenish copper anodized titanium. They all come in at the same, no, excuse me. This one and the other copper Damascus steel blade come in at a lower price point than the other two, which is a little bit surprising. I would imagine the other two, this one would come in higher than the other ones because it's a Damascus blade, but what do I know? So moving on to the action. It has a very light detent. The springs on this Axis style lock are not very strong, but the blade is so small and you just get such like a powerful flick behind it. It flies out of there relatively well. Reverse flick is good. There is a smidge of blade play. I didn't mess with it too much because again, it's a pass-around knife and I don't love to do that. I did tighten this a little bit to make it better, but there is still a smidge of blade play. But however, you're still getting, I mean, great dropability. You guys know how it be when it comes to the Axis style lock. They're just, if it's on bearings, which I'm assuming this blade is, it's just very, very smooth. You can, of course, slow roll it out as well. Although, who doesn't like to flick their knives out? And then, of course, you can do the Axis style flick, and it works well. So really, no complaints at all. I mean, again, the detent is light, or air quote detent. It is lighter, but the blade is so small. I feel like it works well, and it makes up for that with having such a thin and small blade and just being able to powerfully flick it out of there. So no complaints at all with the action. I found it to be pretty fidgetable and pretty addicting when you get into a routine of open and closing it. But action is very good on the Edgeplay. Next up is Ergos. Now, as small as this knife is, I would consider this to be a choke up point. I can still just barely, and I mean just barely, get all 4 fingers on this knife and still be comfortable. It's a very easy to handle design. You have pretty much a straight line here. You have a straight line tapered down here, and it obviously gets fatter here towards the rear. But you get a nice natural restriction point right here. You have no jimping, but it's nice and smooth. So your thumb can land right on top of the studs like here, or out here even further for push cuts. The titanium has this milling in it, which is nice. It's rounded and contoured in all the right edges and all the right areas. The pocket clip is very, very minuscule, and it's nice and flat, no sharp edges. So nothing is causing a hot spot from that aspect of it. Then, of course, you can choke up. Your thumb can land kind of here, here, or way out here, almost to the tip of the blade. And it works really well. It's a very comfortable knife to handle. And my favorite is the pinch grip, which I love with Wharncliffe, reverse tanto, sheep's foot style blades with those low tips. So thumb on the pivot, middle finger on the pivot, pointer finger out here right at the tip of the blade, and you can do some great slicing through Amazon packages. You can cut out labels, you can cut out scrapbooking things, whatever it may be. The ergos on this are really good, and that's why one reason I gravitate a lot towards medium to smaller knives. And with a small knife, you can just get amazing, as long as it's comfortable, as long as the ergos are good, you can just get amazing control over it, amazing ergos, and it's just a very comfortable and great usable experience. Now this I would consider to be a little bit more of a showy blade, a little bit more of a sort of classy carry. So I don't know how much cutting you're going to be doing with it, but the ergos are good for the cuttability that you can be doing with it if you choose to do so. So ergos are great on the Edgeplay. Moving on to carry. Of course, let me get my hank here, and this is a milled clip. Goes in pretty well, and honestly carries pretty deep. I really like how that carries. And again, it's a super small knife. I mean, so this thing, it pretty much disappears into my fist. I did carry this in gym shorts one day and my bird dogs one day. Fantastic. You have no flipper tab, no jimping, no sharp edges to possibly catch your hand on when you're down beside it, getting whatever you may be needing to get. Yeah, it carries well. Obviously, it's not reversible because you have the fidget spinner there, but disappears in the pocket. So small, so sleek, so lightweight. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's a good carry knife, and I'm sure you guys could pretty much expect that from the get-go here. So that leads me to my final category of price point and what I recommend this knife. So price point on this specific version, as well as the other copper Damascus blade is $256.99. The black and the green version with just the normal blade go for $265, so a little bit more money. To me personally, I don't think that's, I would never spend, you know, $250 on a knife like this. I get it if you choose to do so. If you have that money laying around, and if you can, you know, easily swing those types of knife purchases, then go ahead, be my guest. Like I'm not diminishing what the knife is, and it's a cool little knife. But to me, it's just a little bit too gimmicky for the price point. And I know you are getting, you know, good materials. I'm not a, you know, Damascus fan, so that doesn't really, you know, spin the wheel for me too much. But I mean, the action is good. The ergos are good. Fantastic ergos, fantastic carry. You know, a great looking knife, honestly. I really like the blade shape and the handle shape. There's a lot of other knives that I would gladly spend $250 on versus this. And I mean, I feel like I am a fidget guy and I really like fidgeting, but again, it just doesn't justify that price point for me. Some of you guys might see that price point and be fine with it. And if you are, then I think you should check this knife out, because again, it is cool. It is a little bit of a commodity, a little bit of a gimmick, but you know, I use that term loosely, because at the end, yeah, I mean, was I super duper excited to check this out compared to some other ones that I have in right now? No, I mean, this was probably bottom of the list for specific knives, but again, I was pleasantly surprised, and I think this knife has a lot of good going for it. I just don't think it's a great value, and personally, I would not spend the money on it. But yeah, guys, that was my full review on the HIGHTRON Knives Edgeplay. Please leave a comment down below if any of you guys have decided to add this very unique knife to the collection. And if you did, do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know. But I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.